Hey, what is up guys, it's your boy Tway here, and this will be a video on, well, Imet 5. I've been practicing a whole long time. I slept at 4 a.m. trying to get this thing down, and I managed. So without further ado, a little guide on how to treat this guy like a kitty cat. So the skills: Guardian's Boomerang stomps on the ground, whacks you down, and all of your characters will be stomped to shit. What you need to do, you can cleanse this off with a Gao, for instance, because if you do not, chances are, if you have your main damage dealer, in my case, my Chase, if I do not cleanse that, he will get hit and he will get hurt. So that will be a very nasty one. But here is where the nasty tactics come in. Send Prison. 3 of your characters will get CC'd. You cannot get out of this, but there's only one way. The one that does not get CC'd has the lowest defense. So you can actually get this on a tactic. Because what you need to do afterward is dodge this switch execution. Because it says this attack is unavoidable and it ignores blocks. So the only way would be too much HP, or you need to be able to invincible frame it. And there's a possibility with that on Gao. After that, there's another thing that needs to be addressed: the Desert Guardian Blade Craft. So he twirls around the boomerang. After he does that, his block rate goes up. After he blocks successfully, Imet's attack increases. So there needs to be a way to either cleanse the extra block rate, or you need to make sure that his block rate will be reduced to 0. And there's a character for that, which is Nikki S1. Then another thing that needs to be addressed is the God King's Blessing. When the CC gauge is depleted, you will be getting healed, and this is where the main healing source comes from. So you can be building a lot of tanky characters, a lot of tanky stuff, and still get healing by CCing the boss properly. Now let's look at some of the characters that I use. I'm using Gao, and there's one thing that I need to be using is the S1 Unique Treasure. This allows for physical damage reduction, which is absolutely insane. And one of the things that really is necessary is the Vortex. It says immune to all types of damage within you. So he is the invincible frame guy that will allow you to dodge the execution. Now, he's not doing a whole lot of damage, so the lifesteal perk is debatable. But I use this for him healing some HP up here and there. What I could have used instead is the Tactical Foresight or the Offensive Guard, because that will reduce the damage by 15%. Also, I make sure that this defense one is not up. That makes sure that I get enough, or like him, to the lowest defense, and he will be onto the execution platform. Also, what I use is, and this is a tip to newer players, if you know that the boss is only doing physical damage, you don't actually need anything into a secondary shield. So I only got the best stats for this: lots of attack speed because I need the mana, lots of dodge because dodging attacks obviously great, some mana. But if I would have done this even better, this would have been P block, because P block works significantly better than dodge is, because I feel like he has a certain base stat of accuracy. Aside from that, using tons of HP and some P block to match it. So this is what it looks like: lots of P dodge, some P block. This could obviously still be better, but this is how it works. Got a nasty Abyssal Crown, so that is looking good. Now going over to the next character, that would be Nikki. Now Nikki is also necessary on this team. Why? The Disarmament on the 3 seconds, these are the perks that you use. So Tactical Foresight, Offensive Guard for maximum damage reduction. Get some attack speed going on, but here is what happens. So S1, it says enemies in Disarmament will have their block changed to 0. So the moment he does the twirling around with his blades, even though he will get his block rate up, he will not be blocking at all. So this is the tactic that you should be using. Little side note, he tends to really still get a block in some here and there, but I think that's a bug. So aside from that, what gear do I use? Actually, a lot of attack speed. Reason for that is more mana means more stun and everything. Got some CC resistance, and this is, I would say, not even the most optimal gear for her. But this is the gear that I used on Sonya and still do. And also a stat that needs to be addressed, and that will be on your main tank, is P toughness. Now, guess what? Everything on P toughness, and this allows Philip to survive. The reason why I picked Philip is his unique weapon, because after stacks you will be getting more defenses, so he will survive the longer the fight progresses. So that is something to keep in mind. So if I start this up even higher, that means his defense goes up even more. And well, we kind of use the Hammer of Titan for that extra damage reduction. Okay, and this is what his perks looks like. And now for the Manhunter Grand. Chase in the building. Now I use Chase in a very nifty way for more damage and more survivability. So what this actually looks like is the normal damaging gear. Lots of attack coming with it, but with this I use maximum penetration, and for one reason only. This guy has onto the bottom a set defense, so defense shred does not happen. So Phillips, I think it's either S1 or 2, should normally shred the defense, doesn't do that anymore, so you need some form of penetration. And I'm actually liking this in PvP as well, so it's absolutely gorgeous. World Boss 1 or World Boss 2, I'm not sure how that pans out, but let's get back to my characters. So Chase uses one Beast Scale bracelet. I tried using the normal earrings, but he just dies. He just literally dies to boomerangs, and he just dies to a whole lot. So with that, I use the extra defense, the tactical foresight, and that allows him to get extra damage off of block. So this is like 30% or 30k extra attack that comes with it. Obviously the damage, and I find that if I don't get the T5 Dark, he is not surviving as much because your HP will gradually get lower, and I'm just on the edge of like the 30 to like 25% HP, where he will either go back to his normal state and not the rage mode. So this is how I use it. So without further ado,
let's kill him again, motherfucker.
Alrighty guys, skipping the intro animation because it's long as balls. Now starting out with Gauss S1 and Phillips S2 straight away for the damage reduction. Straight away also Nikki S2 for the full depletion on the stun gauge. And obviously Chase onto S2 because that is where his main damage source is. So we got the Stomp, the Boomerang. And now we gotta wait which one of the moves that he's gonna pull. Is it gonna be the Execution? Yes it is. So I just wait and I use S3 on Gao, survive that, stun him in the meantime. That means I'm healing according as well. Now I'm setting up for an additional stun. Now after he's been knocked down, he will start doing the twirling. That needs the S1 on Nikki. If you don't do that in time, he will start to block and he will start doing extra damage because he gets more attack buff. While I'm doing that, you need to get Nikki's S2 off as well because it allows for another stun gauge, and that will allow you to heal while being in that swirling move. So once again, execution platform S3, making sure that I get everything necessary. And now I set up for an additional stun, which is Nikki's S3, Chase's S1, and that will be a full depletion of the gauge, but it was kind of close. And here we got the Nikki S3 once again, making sure I get that stun in. Waiting once again, and one of the side notes is Chase's S3 actually is a full stun depleter. So that's looking really good. Once again, execution platform S3. And now I put all the debuffs on there. I make sure the buff with Gao on S2, making sure to get everything set up and get it popping. Disarmament. And look at how much my Chase is struggling to keep his HP up. Like if I got 1 or 2 lines of recovery onto my unique treasures, he would be surviving. There will be damage lowering, but still. Execution platform, we don't even sweat this. And with the rotations on these 4 characters, it's actually really easy to heal yourself up. But on a side note, I tried doing Imet 6. Imet 6 has bleed. I'm not sure how I'm gonna complete that ever, especially with a chase that needs his healing. But just imagine all characters at least unique weapon and unique treasure 3, getting all sorts of extra P block lines, lots of HP coming out. I think even Imet 6 would be possible, but Imet 7, I think we need all soul weapons for all of these characters because first of all, we'll be lacking damage. So that is something to reconsider on whenever you want to do this. Now the bigger question would be, I don't have these characters, what do I do? Well, there are Theo teams and it consists of Jane, Theo, aselica, and a fourth character is still one of my biggest question marks. I think it needs to be Bernheim because his S1 onto the perks will allow you for Dispel onto 8 seconds, which is quite similar to Nikki's S1. And maybe, just maybe, aselica's blindness perk will work very well indeed, because if the enemy doesn't do any damage, we don't die. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was Twibby. Peace!